Coming up on NonStop Local at 4, gas prices continue trending upward. What's driving price hikes and how it's impacting locals. Plus, powerful winter storm is causing chaos for travelers across the United States. Hear from one of our own and how she's handling the turbulence at Chicago's O'Hare. And Rosemary Wright in the Weather Center for us on this Monday. Hey, Rosemary.
Hey, and there's a lot to talk about in weather. We're talking warm temperatures just in time for the first day of spring coming up. More on that in your full forecast. NonStop Local at 4 starts right now.
Corey Howard and Leslie Lowe, bringing you the content that connects our community. You're watching NonStop Local News at 4.
We begin this Monday with across-the-country gas prices entering their third week of steady increases. The average price of a gallon of gas stood at $3.72 as of this morning. That's the highest price for regular gas since October of 2023. Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us here on NonStop Local at 4. I'm Corey Howard. President Donald Trump appealed to several countries over the weekend to help open the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's military has kept the vital waterway virtually closed since strikes there began. NBC's Melanie Zanona has the latest from D.C.
Someday rebuilding that country.
President Trump feeling pressure on rising gas prices.
When this is over, oil prices are going to go down very, very rapidly. So is inflation, so is everything else.
Even as he pushes allies to join the battle to open the all-important Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil is at a near standstill.
We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the strait far more than ours. Some are very enthusiastic and some are less than enthusiastic.
Those allies, many of whom the president has criticized and berated, say not so fast. Germany's defense minister telling reporters, quote, "This is not our war." Great Britain saying the leaders have not made a decision on sending ships. The president not happy.
For 40 years we're protecting you and you don't want to get involved.
These other countries are benefiting greatly from the United States military taking out the threat of Iran.
The longer the war goes on, the price of oil seesaws, and the more pain Americans will feel at the gas pump. The average cost of a gallon of gas now $3.72. The administration feeling the heat.
This will end, and I don't know how many weeks it will be, but on the other side of this, the world will be safer and we will be better supplied.
The president has indicated he's not in the mood to make a deal, though Iran wants to make one, but
we don't know who their leader is. We have people wanting to negotiate. We have no idea who they are.
Iran is pushing back on President Trump's claim about the Strait of Hormuz, saying it's only closed to enemies. Meanwhile, the president may delay his trip to China, scheduled for later this month, but he insists it's not about pressuring China to help in the Strait of Hormuz. Administration officials say Trump wants to stay in the United States to help coordinate the war effort. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
Gas prices keep rising across our region with new numbers out today from AAA. AAA says the average price for regular gas in Spokane today is $4.55. That's up 26 cents from last week and almost $1 since last year. Across state lines in Coeur d'Alene, drivers are paying $3.66. That's up 34 cents in just 1 week. Meanwhile, on the crime tracker, many parents are asking questions after learning a former teacher was removed from a Spokane public school classroom after allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior with a student earlier this year. That teacher is being held on a $750,000 bond on charges of rape and child molestation. Here's Noah Bolter with the latest.
Representatives with Spokane Public Schools tell me they teach personal safety, touching safety, and assertiveness as a part of annual curriculum for students age K through 3rd grade. Now I want to show you this picture that is being shared online and is raising some questions. The district tells me it regularly sends out letters like this notifying parents of this curriculum. In the curriculum, students are taught to identify signs of sexual abuse so that they can say no and tell an adult if it happens. They are also taught to be assertive to get out of unsafe situations. And parents do have the option to opt in or out of this child protection curriculum. as for the teacher who was arrested. According to the 2025 Washington State Adult Sentencing Guidelines, if convicted, 32-year-old Mihaela Benavides could be facing a minimum of 51 to 68 months, depending on the details of the alleged crimes and on how the judge rules on the case, amongst other factors. According to attorney Dustin Burke, judge's discretion could mean a varying sentence shorter than the minimum or up to life in prison.
Even after you've served the time that the judge orders, you technically could have to stay longer, determined by the jail board and what their review of your risk level and different things like that would be. So the sentence is not concrete.
Benavides is scheduled back in court on Tuesday for a formal arraignment. In Spokane, I'm Noah Bolter, NonStop Local.
Thanks, Noah. Tracking weather now. Washington Emergency Management says several roads had to be closed over the weekend in Walla Walla and Columbia counties due to flooding. Some homes were damaged and many are still working to pick up the pieces. NonStop Local's Isaiah Bernal is in Dayton with the latest on the floods there.
Hey guys, we're here in Dayton following up on the flooding that has hit some parts of southeastern Washington. I'll give you a look at what water levels look like right now over the Touche River. As you can see, they're lower, but that water is still moving fast. That wasn't the case yesterday. Let me give you a look on this side. As you can see, a lot more houses over here. That water did creep up, getting into the neighborhoods, causing damage. I've seen several people outside still working to get that water and mud out of their houses, driveways, roadways. Some roads in Dayton are still closed off. I've spoken with a couple people today who live further away and weren't hit as hard, but they're still here trying to help their neighbors, their community, get over this most recent impact. In Dayton, I'm Isaiah Bernal, NonStop Local.
And tracking more weather now, Fish and Wildlife says it's updating access at 2 southeast Washington wildlife areas after recent flooding. Staff say the Tucannon River remains very high at the W.T. Wootton Wildlife Area in Columbia and Garfield counties. Part of the road is washed out and only the first few campgrounds are open while crews assess the damage. At the Asotin Creek Wildlife Area, the shooting range is closed with water flowing through that site. Signs mark closed areas as damage assessment continues. And we'll get over to Rosemary Wright in the Weather Center for Leslie Lowe right now. And Rosemary, what are we looking at weather-wise? Any more rain, precipitation, stuff like that?
Looking like a few more scattered showers through tonight, but after that, dry conditions on the horizon, hopefully. Already, we're having a pretty mild and calm start to the afternoon, or start to the evening, I should say, here in the metro area. As we take a look at our current conditions across eastern Washington, we're capturing some scattered showers through the Lake City. Temperatures holding strong in the 40s across Spokane and Kootenai counties, upper 30s right now there in Chewelah. Turning our eyes a bit further southwest, we're looking at temperatures in the upper 60s right now over in the Tri-Cities, and obviously much sunnier there. Over the last 24 hours, we did have some passing snowfall. The heaviest snow, of course, along the Cascades, our northern border, and also along that western portion of the Panhandle too. We also saw rain over the last 24 hours with the heaviest downpours in those areas that we're already seeing overwhelmed waterways, like along the Palouse and through the LC Valley. With that, we do still have flood watches in place, flood advisories, and now a new avalanche watch there in northwestern Montana that's set to expire tomorrow, Tuesday at 3 p.m. As we look at what's set to happen overnight, you notice that conditions kind of dry out here. As we watch on our future cast, you'll see we do have one system kind of passing over through tonight, but it breaks up as we get into those early morning hours tomorrow, Tuesday. Taking a look at that national picture, you'll notice that winter's looking quite different for our friends there in the northeast. We're looking at more rain, more snow through the Midwest and also into New England over the next 48 hours, Corey.
Rosemary, thank you. And that storm you just mentioned forcing many airlines to either cancel or delay thousands of flights, stranding travelers all over the country. As of right now, FlightAware has reported more than 18,000 flight delays today and just over 4,600 flight cancellations. One of the hubs of those disruptions, second only to Atlanta, is one of the country's major air travel hubs, Chicago's O'Hare International. Add on the partial government shutdown and TSA call-outs surging over the weekend, with the Department of Homeland Security reporting there were 111 incidents where TSA shortages threatened operational security on Sunday, and travelers having to wait hours just to get through. Well, let's just say the airport might not be the most fun place to be during all this, but I did talk to one traveler who is stuck in Chicago because of the weather, and as always, she's making the best of it.
So we're just kicking it at Chicago O'Hare. I got a lot of miles in. I walked a lot of steps.
Own Wake Up Show anchor Kalai Chalk spent the weekend in Chicago, taking in the sights and sounds of the Windy City, the St. Patrick's Day Parade, the Green River you see there. I assume some deep dish pizza or Chicago-style dogs. I don't know. But at any rate, she was supposed to leave Sunday morning, but when she got to the airport, after getting through the chaos of security, she found her flight was first delayed by 9 hours and then later canceled altogether. She said the line to retrieve bags and get rebooked consisted of more than 100 people trying to do the same and only a couple of people working the desk, so it was find a hotel and spend an extra couple days in Chicago. But again, as always, Kalai is seeing the bright side.
Like some people are missing things. Like say they are trying to get to somebody's wedding or to get to somebody's funeral or get to something really important and they can't. I just think we're lucky and don't need to be anywhere except for cross my fingers that my son's getting his work done for school. But like that's the only thing, I think.
Let's hope that homework is getting done. In the meantime, for our viewers, she is planning on getting in late Tuesday, which means she'll just roll straight from the airport and right into the Wednesday weekend, or right into the Wednesday wake-up show, right?
I know some people roll like that. I don't roll like that. So if I don't have to be there on Wednesday, and everybody knows I'm a better person when I sleep. So if I don't have to be there on Wednesday, I'll sleep and be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed on Thursday.
So there you go, Spokane. If all goes according to plan, Kalai is back Thursday. Until then, she's just our temporary Chicago correspondent. Still to come here on NonStop Local at 4. I've said it before. I've said it 1,000 times. It's always a good reminder, a good life lesson to abide by. Don't go chasing waterfalls. But it's hard not to chase them when they're for sale and they're relatively close by. So we'll tell you about some waterfall that you might want to look at if you're wanting to get away from the rivers and the lakes that you're used to.
And we've got your weather forecast to take a look at, your St. Patrick's Day forecast and a warm finale to winter that's coming up here on NonStop Local.
Welcome back. There's so many ways to commute to work, but one meteorologist in Minnesota took advantage of the overnight snowfall. Take a look at this. Brendan Pham of Northern News Now put on his skis to get to work early in the morning, riding on 10 inches of snow.
With no pavement to worry about or tailgaters either, it was smooth skiing all the way to the news station. Wow. That's pretty wild. And it's like still dark out and everything. You know, it's super duper early in the morning. He's running red lights though. Is that okay?
That's a great question. Do you have to abide by the traffic lights if you're on skis?
Imagine getting ticketed for skiing too fast.
It would, and you know, we had a whole winter here, and technically I guess we're still in winter.
Yes.
We had a whole winter here where maybe one day that could have been possible for us, and it happened in March. And now it's all melting. Now it's all melting, right?
It's hard to get the timing and the amounts just right with the snow, right?
I guess, but I don't know. It'd be nice. I'm over it now. Let's move on to spring. But would have been nice to have more snow this winter.
It would have been nice. We can mourn winter just a few more days. We've got spring on the way, and already we're starting to see those spring-like temperatures. We're almost a quarter past 4 p.m. Take a look at those conditions outside across the region. We've got temperatures at 59 degrees in Yakima, 68 degrees for the Tri-Cities right now. Spokane at the tail end of the pack, 40 degrees even there. Winds quite calm. As we look at our satellite radar, you'll see that we did have some storm activity over both Spokane and Kootenai counties. As for south central Washington, northern Oregon, and the LC Valley, most of that rain and snow was more so for the eastern portion of that area. Taking a look at what we're expecting overnight, we're looking at another wave of showers possible for eastern Washington and North Idaho, but we see that break up as we get into those early morning hours. If we do see rain, it'll likely be sprinkles and pretty mild for the city of Spokane. Regardless, we did get some fresh snow over the weekend, and now we're looking for our breezes to pick up in the coming hours, bringing with it some avalanche risk there in northwestern Montana. Additionally, we're still tracking flood watches and flood advisories through the western portion of Washington state too. So we take a look at what we're expecting from these winds, though. You'll see this map really light up as we get into those overnights tonight. Areas you see shaded in brown set to exceed 50 miles per hour, including Leavenworth and just west of Yakima, but in northwestern Montana, that same area where we have that avalanche risk, we're talking gusts in excess of 75 miles per hour as temperatures drop into the 40s tonight for our overnight lows for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, 50 degrees even on tap for the Tri-Cities tonight, and just 41 overnight in Yakima. Cloudy conditions across the board. Highs for tomorrow return to the upper 50s for both Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, just in time for St. Patrick's Day. As for Moses Lake, we're talking 68 degrees there. Tri-Cities not far ahead, 69 degrees are expected high as you head into Tuesday. As for along Oregon's northern border, we're talking 68 degrees in both Hermiston as well as Meacham. Outside of those temperatures, that chance for wet weather tomorrow strongest at about 8 p.m. along the Panhandle. That's when we see showers likely. Spokane follows shortly after, although we're looking for most of that rainfall overnight on Tuesday, with things hopefully drying out as we get into Wednesday morning. Just how much rain could we see between right now and the end of the day on Wednesday? Well, that highest rain accumulation in those areas where we're already seeing waterlogged and overwhelmed waterways, like through the LC Valley, into Orofino area at 4/10 of an inch. And then just take a look at what's happening on the west side. We're seeing rain beyond 6 inches over the next 48 to 72 hours. As for more mountain snow, we're expecting that to kind of slow down, less than an inch of additional accumulation between right now and Wednesday, according to this model. As we look at winds during this time, you'll notice that they stay pretty consistent there in northwestern Montana, but we see those of us in eastern Washington and North Idaho come a little bit closer to baseline before another wave of strong breezes Wednesday morning, and then things lull again by Wednesday night. So how does this play out over the next 7 days in terms of temperatures? We're looking for a return to the 60s on Wednesday for Spokane. That comes on Thursday, just in time for spring. For Coeur d'Alene, their chance of precipitation stays strong through the tail end of the work week and into the weekend, but we're looking at pretty dry next 7 days for the Lilac City. As for Yakima and Tri-Cities, dry weather expected there too, and a return to the 70s by the time that we hit midweek. So we're talking warmer weather on the way. That's your forecast, but stick around. We've got some trending news to talk about when we
Welcome back. We're no strangers to strange real estate finds here at 4 p.m., but one piece of property in Oregon. This is pretty unique. Check this out.
We're talking about one of the state's iconic waterfalls now listed on Redfin. The property, including a 92-foot waterfall, is owned by the Abbey Foundation of Oregon, and it's about 50 miles south of Portland.
It's beautiful.
It's pretty awesome.
I need that, please. But for years, the foundation has preserved the property while allowing public access to the falls. But here's the thing. Last month, the nonprofit put the 40-acre forest lot up for sale. And here's the listing here. If you're thinking about buying it, I guess state lawmakers are now taking the steps to purchase the property.
This definitely has been a bipartisan, bicameral effort. This will still have to pass the legislative process.
Amid that government approval process, locals want to make sure that the land is preserved and that everyone who wants to can still enjoy it.
Great, beautiful, a little muddy, but as long as it's for good, I guess more importantly, yeah. If it's preserved and it's here for everyone.
If this purchase moves forward, the property won't necessarily become a state park, which would require additional money. It could be managed by a local or tribal government or even another state agency. It's pretty impressive, though. Take a look at that.
I want to be there.
Do you think they have out a little for sale sign?
Was there, because I know we saw the listing, but this is far away and I can't, was there a price on that?
Oh, I wasn't.
There was
even
no
looking at
price
the
on it. I guess
must be crazy then.
I guess they just get for if there's no price, you can't afford it, right?
Yeah.
So we can still visit though. Hopefully, if the state buys it, it's open to everyone to go visit. So
hopefully it stays open to the public, right?
Yeah, could use a waterfall right now.
Me too.
But instead, we have to take a break. Welcome back. A family of bears has been captured in Southern California just a day after a woman was scratched during a close encounter.
The incident happened Saturday in Monrovia when authorities say a bear swiped at a woman walking her dog. On Sunday, wildlife officials tracked down a mother bear and her 2 cubs who had been living under a home in the area. The little bear said that it was just right. The older bear said it was too cold, right? No. Ashley Howie Storms and her husband spoke to the victim minutes before the attack, helping their new puppy get accustomed to her dog.
We've been here 22 years, I think, and I don't recall a human bear encounter that resulted in an injury. And it really breaks our heart because that's not what happens here. We're all really cautious here. We're all really careful here.
I mean, you encounter a bear, you get swiped, you get scratched. That's best case scenario, I would think, right?
Oh, yeah, especially a mama bear with her cubs.
Yeah. I wonder if it must have been one of the little bears that scratched.
Yes.
Because the mama bear probably wouldn't have. Anyways, it's unclear what will happen with those bears. Officials say DNA testing will determine whether the captured bear is the same one involved in the attack.
And if it is, wildlife officials say the mama bear could be put down.
Well, I don't like that.
Yeah, pretty sad ending. What would happen to the cubs if they have to put down the mama bear?
I don't like that at all. That's the way we have to end it. I wish there was a ray of hope, maybe. But
the baby bear video was very cute. I'm sure that they have a plan for what happens with orphaned baby bears, but yikes. I'm glad that the woman who was scratched is okay as well. Yes,
Sure.
yes.
It'd be nice if everyone could walk away from this unscathed.
Yes, I like
go
that.
back to the woods.
I like that plan.
Maybe the Cubs go hang out with Punch over in Tokyo.
Punch the monkey? No. Oh, man.
We have to take a break. Also forget how much bears are associated with California. You got them on the flag. You got the UCLA Bruins.
Yes.
Are there any other
That's
bear
2 bears.
reference? You're from California. Are there
2
any,
bears right there.
There's 2 bears.
I don't
That's
know. I think
Cal?
those are the only 2 bears.
I don't know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, that's going to do it for NonStop Local at 4. Tri-Cities, Yakima, thanks so much for joining us on this Monday. We will be back tomorrow on a Tuesday. Spokane, we'll take a quick 2-minute break. We'll be back right after. Coming up at 4:30, a detailed look at our region's homeless population. Belle Lewis is standing by with what new data reveals. Plus, a ban on kratom takes effect in Spokane Valley. Find out what this means for local businesses. And then, could NBA basketball be making a comeback to Seattle? The details behind an upcoming vote straight ahead as NonStop Local at 4:30 starts right now.
Corey Howard and Leslie Lowe with content that connects our community. You're watching NonStop Local KHQ at 4:30. This is breaking news.
Breaking news to start 4:30 here. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office is requesting assistance in locating a woman from Hayden. Deputies say Natalie Ruggles-Quijano was last seen by friends on March 7th in the area of East Lunsford Lane and North 12th Street in Coeur d'Alene. She was seen on foot carrying 2 bags around each shoulder. Natalie's 2012 Chevy Impala was not at her home when deputies tried to find her. If you have any information on her whereabouts, you're asked to please call detectives at the number you see there on your screen, 208-446-1366. We're learning a Spokane County Sheriff's deputy who resigned after an internal investigation found he allegedly traded prescription pills with a neighbor accused of murder and kidnapping. That's according to documents in a Spokane County Sheriff's Office investigation obtained by the Spokesman Review. Investigators say 61-year-old Daniel Middlebaugh sent texts about trading pills with John Rosen, who was charged after a woman was found chained in a basement in Pend Oreille County. The Sheriff's Office also found thousands of pornographic images on Middlebaugh's work phone sent to a woman. Some of the photos were taken in the public safety building. Middlebaugh resigned in August and has not been criminally charged. We did reach out to the Sheriff's Office for comment. Ainsley Anderson is working on this story tonight. As soon as we hear back, we'll pass along more information to you. When it comes to our region's homeless population, the Spokane Continuum of Care says data is essential. The Homeless Information Management System, or HMIS, makes sure every individual in the system is identified and their services recorded. The Longitudinal System Analysis, or LSA, is the 250-page product of the data system. It shows the demographic split of the homeless population, the percentage that entered and left services, and even how long they remained homeless. NonStop Local's Belle Lewis joins us live outside of City Hall now. Belle, the LSA presented today highlights data that helps inform policy decisions.
Yeah, good afternoon, Corey. Here at Spokane City Hall, a team works around the clock year in and year out to collect data from the Homeless Management Information System and compile this LSA report. And when we're talking about data for homelessness, of course, you might hear the words point in time or pit count. That's just one report. The LSA is actually more like the big brother. It collects more information, more demographics, and more data. And from that, we can really start to take a look at some of these key trends. But it is important to note that the data in this latest 2025 report is from the last quarter 2024 to September of 2025. So the enforcement ordinance that's widely credited as absolutely changing the downtown experience is not reflected in this data. However, we do have a complete look at the scattered site model. Let me run you through some numbers. The city says they've served about 11% fewer individuals this year. That equates to about 300 households. Of the individuals served, more exited for permanent housing through emergency shelters and other means, and returns to the systems were down 43%, but still hundreds are re-entering the system.
Emergency shelter is one piece, but this transitional housing, if we can expand that, we are confident that we'll have even greater success, because when people then can go from transitional to other forms of more independent living, they're more likely to be successful.
Continued investment in transitional housing is one lever that the city could pull to decrease recidivism rates. For example, the average duration of homelessness is about 107 days, with most people exiting homelessness in the first 30 days. Chronic homelessness then still an issue. And let's take a look at the demographics. The vast majority of the homeless population above 30, with more than 1 in 5 people aged 55 or older. Now, I've been following the city's plan to address homelessness for a while. They are seeing that data skew older, with people getting evicted from their homes potentially at that older age. And to combat that, they are using eviction prevention dollars, but that's not included as part of the LSA. So we'll continue to keep our eye on that. In Spokane, I'm Belle Lewis, NonStop Local.
Well, thank you very much. In case you missed it, Belle took a deep dive on the past, present, and future of homelessness in a 3-part investigative series. You can find that on our website at khq.com under the Helping Save Spokane tab. The sale, distribution, and advertising of Kratom products is now banned in Spokane Valley. Police are starting a 30-day outreach period with local retailers. City Council voted 6-1 to pass the ban at the March 3rd meeting. The vote came one day after Spokane City Council voted to ban the sale of kratom. Police say kratom, a plant from Southeast Asia, can act as a stimulant or opiate, and it's sold locally without regulation. Police Chief Dave Ellis gave his opinion on the ban, saying the ordinance, quote, better equips our officers to help reduce the risks posed by an unregulated substance that has increasingly impacted community safety and public health. Any business caught selling kratom faces a $250 fine and could lose its license. City staff and police presented information at several council meetings before the ban passed. Across our region, Washington State DOT says a snowplow driver escaped injury after a falling tree hit the plow while clearing Highway 2 on Friday. Crews cleared and reopened the highways despite the rough conditions there. DOT thanks workers for putting in long hours to keep those roads open as winter weather starts to fade. We certainly do the same. Thanks to everyone who had to work through that little mid-March snowstorm we had. Rosemary?
Yes, and it takes so much effort to do things like salt the roads and plow them too. That's why we got to thank our plow drivers, but also give them extra space on the roads. No passing a plow on the wrong side either.
Although, are they going to have any more snow to plow? That's the question.
You know, it's your reminder for next year, probably. Yeah. We're starting to see winter really taper off. As we take a look outside right now across the region, you'll see things are really quite mild, past 4 p.m. We've got temperatures holding strong in the 40s for much of eastern Washington and north Idaho, upper 30s right now for areas like Chewelah, cloudy across the board. Regardless, we did still get some fresh snow over the weekend, and now we're looking for our winds to pick up in the near future. With that, we do have some avalanche concerns there in northwestern Montana. We're still tracking flood alerts along Washington's west side. So we take a look at our satellite radar over the last 12 hours. You'll see that we did have some passing showers, even some scattered sleet too for Spokane and Kootenai counties. Just how much rain did we see over the last day here? We're looking at just over 1/10 of an inch for areas like Potlatch, 2/10 of an inch along Lookout Pass, as well as through Orofino. So some of the same areas where we saw that flooding over the weekend. Taking a look at what we're expecting overnight here, you'll see that chance of precipitation falls to 20% at around dinner time, 5 p.m., 7 p.m. for Spokane, then falls to goose eggs by the time we get to 9 p.m. tonight. You can see that system passing over, picks up for a bit, and then kind of breaks apart as we get into those early morning hours tomorrow, Tuesday. With this, our St. Patrick's Day forecast is looking pretty pleasant across the region in terms of temperatures, albeit cloudy, potentially rainy along our northern border, so for areas like Sandpoint. But take a look at those temperatures. We're talking upper 50s for Spokane, low 60s through Omak, and winds nice and calm. Just look at that leprechaun doing his jig, Corey.
I went to the parade this weekend and I forgot that it wasn't actually St. Patrick's Day, that's this week. So
still to come.
Still to come. All right, still you can celebrate. All right, developing across Washington State. This is exciting. NBA basketball could soon be returning to Seattle. ESPN is reporting the Board of Governors are exploring adding a franchise in the Emerald City along with Las Vegas. The vote will take place during a meeting of team owners next week. The report says the league is targeting an expansion for the 2028-2029 season. One ESPN reporter posted to X this morning with sources telling ESPN that bids to buy the franchises could be roughly $7 to $10 billion. The vote comes 1 month after Washington Governor Bob Ferguson met with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver, fueling hopes for the Sonics' return. The scheduled meeting was listed on a calendar released by the governor's office. No other details on the meeting were immediately available, but Climate Pledge Arena recently underwent a $1.15 billion renovation. That arena was the former home of the Sonics. While it now serves as the home of the Seattle Kraken and frequently hosts concerts and other shows, there is an underdeveloped storage space in the arena labeled with a sign that reads NBA Locker Room. Ferguson has publicly offered to help bring the team back, including during the State of the State address back in January. City and state leaders have been preparing for a return since the Sonics left back in 2008. Still to come here on NonStop Local at 4:30. An exciting day for both people who like stamps and people who like their cars riding a little lower than normal. And it's a huge day for people who like stamps and lowrider vehicles. Doesn't get much more exciting than that, except for maybe carrots. Yeah, we're really going to talk about carrots. I'm going to turn a 4-second conversation I had with my wife this weekend into a 2-minute bit about carrots. It's going to be riveting. It's going to be educational, but most importantly, it's going to kill 2 minutes of the show where I literally had nothing else to talk about today. So, carrots. But let's get you involved in on the carrot fun, shall we? Who wouldn't want to go to khq.com/vote, scan the QR code, or go to my Facebook and TikTok pages and tell me if they like to peel carrots? No? No one would? Well, if you want to do all those things, it's available through all those channels. If you're just sticking around to see a full weather forecast from Rosemary Wright, well, even better news for you. It's coming up in just 2 minutes.
I'm forecaster Rosemary Wright, and for Chief Forecaster Leslie Lowe, let's jump right into that weather forecast. We're nearly 4:45 p.m. We've got temperatures holding strong in the low 40s across the metro area. Heavy cloud cover for both, still registering some scattered showers over in the Lake City, and winds actually quite calm. As we look at that satellite radar, you could see that today was a wet day for many, gloomy day across the board as that storm kind of continues on its path further east over the region. Overnight, you'll notice that we could get another wave of scattered showers for eastern Washington, but we really start to see that system break up as we get into those early morning hours tomorrow, Tuesday. Regardless, we're getting rain on top of fresh snow that we saw over the weekend, and with that, in addition to some winds we're set to see pick up, we do have some avalanche concerns right now in northwestern Montana, specifically through Lincoln and Flathead. Right now, this watch is set to expire tomorrow, Tuesday at 3 p.m. Reminder, it can always be extended or expanded, though, especially with all the activity that we're looking at from our winds overnight here. You'll notice all of these areas shaded in brown, including Leavenworth, Yakima, set to exceed 50-mile-per-hour gusts. Here in northwestern Montana, we could see gusts exceed 75 miles per hour. Overnight lows, we're looking for things to fall to 40 degrees in Spokane. 42 are expected low for Coeur d'Alene. Upper 30s through Deer Park and Priest River at 37 degrees are expected overnight low there. As for our highs for tomorrow, we're looking for temperatures to climb to the upper 50s in Spokane at 57 degrees. Coeur d'Alene not far behind. 55 degrees are expected high there. Even warmer through central Washington at 68 degrees for Moses Lake, and 63 are expected high in Lewiston. Looking now at that future cast, I want to pause at tomorrow, Tuesday, 8 p.m. because that's when we see the strongest chance of precipitation start to pick up for North Idaho. You'll notice Spokane follows suit shortly after as we get to about midnight, and then things continue to be wet overnight, drying out a bit as we get into Wednesday. So we're looking for kind of showers off and on, but mainly through those overnight times, kind of calm during the day. Just how much more rain could we see? Well, we're looking at as much as 4/10 of an inch for areas like Orofino, where of course we're already seeing overwhelmed waterways. And then as we check in along Washington's west side, areas shaded in red could exceed 6 inches. And reminder, we've still got flood alerts in place for much of Washington's west coast. As for mountain snow, we're looking for more snow accumulation to kind of calm as we get into midweek. week, and for our winds to continue to fluctuate off and on. Again, everywhere you see shaded in red picks up to 40-mile-per-hour gusts, and then we see that come back down to baseline again Wednesday night. As we take a look at our next 7 days in Spokane, you'll notice what happens with our temperatures here. Just in time for spring, we see a return to the mid-60s, in and out of the 50s as we head into next week and over the weekend, but we're talking mainly dry conditions over the next 7 days too. Overnight lows in the 40s and 50s and then to the 30s. The very similar pattern for Coeur d'Alene, although it could be rainier. So that's your forecast, but still have question of the day to talk about. That's
all right. Strap in, because every now and then something pops up in my life makes me wonder, how did I get this far? How did I not know this? It makes me question everything, Rosemary. Life, my place in it, what else I've been missing. And this weekend it started with a stew, a simple stew, a beef stew. And what do you put in a beef stew? Beef, potatoes, celery, and carrots. This is where I want to focus, because I go to grab some carrots from the store. I come home, chop them up, put them in a bowl, ready to get stewed. Here's some file video of carrots, so you don't have to look at my face while I tell you this totally pointless story. But anyways, just as I'm about to add them to the stew, I look at the recipe I'm following there and see that it specifically says peeled carrots. I'd already chopped them up. I didn't peel them. Does it matter? I looked at my wife. I said, should I peel these? She not only says yes, but she immediately brought up another time that I didn't peel my carrots. She had it locked and ready to fire off there. She said, when we had a Super Bowl party, you just cut up the carrots and didn't peel them. That's why nobody ate them.
That's why nobody ate them.
I'd argue no one ate them, because who eats carrot at a Super Bowl party? But it made me stop and say, should I be peeling my carrots?
Well, let me help you out with this question, Corey, while you watch a little bit more file video of carrots, okay? As long as you wash and scrub the carrots before chopping or dicing, or even just biting into them like a rabbit, the carrot experts say you're probably just fine. Plus, researchers at Tufts University say the skin of carrots contains vitamin C, beta-carotene, and niacin. But if you peel it, you're not necessarily peeling away all the nutrients. The only time you might want to definitely peel carrots is if you're steaming them. But if you're using them for a stew like you, Corey, or a stock, or juicing, or just a snack, a good scrubbing should suffice.
And I researched a lot of carrots today. That's what I'm saying. When I would pull them from the garden with my great-grandma there, we'd just dust them off and eat them like Bugs Bunny.
I think that's totally fine to do. I'm so sorry.
So all that to say, and the most useless question of the day ever, perhaps, should I be peeling my carrots?
I personally don't know that I've ever peeled a carrot in my life, so it scared me when I voted on this today and said no, and I saw that the overwhelming majority was yes. I am so surprised that we had over almost 40 people, I think, vote in this poll, including Rosemary. Yes. And that's about 39 too many, I think. Like, what is this poll? Anyways. I give my carrots a little rinsey rinse, okay? Yeah. And I get to cutting or eating or whatever's going on. Marie is on the same page, kind of. She said, I do not peel organic carrots or fresh out of the garden. If they're regular store-bought carrots, I do peel. Maybe from all the touching, right?
Sure, I
that
suppose.
makes sense.
Deborah says, give them a good scrubbing. That's it.
Pam says...
That's what you do.
Yeah, I don't. I give him a little rinse. That's a difference than a good scrub. Pam says, my friend eats corn on the cob, but she eats the whole cob?
That has nothing to do with carrots, but I just wanted to include that in there because I need to know more about Pam's friend who eats the whole cob. Becky, no way. Throwing away all the goodness, just a scrub is all they need. So much flavor in the peels.
Yes,
Yeah.
I like the difference in the texture from the skin, right?
Yeah.
Edward says, do you peel yours before eating? Well, it'd be kind of difficult to peel after eating, I would think. Zinger from Edward. Thanks, man.
Edward got me there, yeah. So there you go, everybody. A now almost 4-minute segment on carrots and whether or not we should peel them. I didn't think it could be done, but we did it.
It's making me kind of crave carrots.
There you go. Have some stew tonight, or just have a carrot. I don't know. But anyways, we'll take a break. We'll be right back and talk about lowriders and stamps. Welcome back. A global icon of the car enthusiast community, lowrider culture has grown into a worldwide sensation.
It's part of the vibrant artistic expression that blossomed in the 1940s in the working class communities of Southern California, Arizona, New Mexico, and Texas too, as everyday cars were transformed into one-of-a-kind masterpieces.
And the U.S. Postal Service joining the club with a new series of stamps dedicated to the low and slow rolling works of art.
The stamps, complete with pinstriping, were unveiled Friday during a celebration in San Diego. The new Forever stamp depicts and celebrates lowrider automobiles, which are rooted in Mexican-American and Chicano communities across the Southwest.
USPS Chief Postal Inspector calls the lowrider a rolling canvas of art. San Francisco resident Roberto Hernandez owns a 1964 lowrider Impala. He helped push for this stamp.
Back in the 70s, 80s, and into the 90s, you know, lowriders were never looked on as anything positive. I got arrested 113 times for cruising. I got 56 tickets. We're getting our stamp of approval.
What a resume. Well, these are the 5 stamp designs. 3 Impalas, 1 Chevrolet Fleetline, and a Cutlass Supreme. More information is available at USPS.com.
I'm not a big car guy, so I don't understand a lot of that, but I always think that they're going to scrape the, like if you pull into a parking lot or something, you scrape the bottom of it.
I think you cruise and you go right home. Okay. I don't think this is a park anywhere type of situation.
Head turners for sure. And now you got stamps, everyone. There you go. We'll take another break. We'll wrap this up. Send you off. What a fruitful or vegetable-full conversation we had about carrots today.
Yes, I feel like I'm seeing better already.
It went a lot better than I expected, so please, if you participated in that, thank you so much. That's going to do it for the 4:30 NonStop Local at 5 starts in 90 seconds.
Straight ahead here tonight at 5. New concerns rising after a Spokane public school teacher was arrested for alleged sex crimes against a minor. What we're learning new tonight and how the district is handling this case. And internal investigations revealing disturbing actions carried out by a Spokane County Sheriff's deputy on the job. A live report on what we're learning straight ahead.
And there's a lot to talk about and weather. Let's get you through the remainder of winter and the start to spring in your full forecast. NonStop Local at 5 starts right now.
Sean Owsley and Leslie Lowe with content connecting our community. You're watching NonStop Local KHQ at 5.
We begin with a developing story tonight. Spokane County Sheriff's deputy resigned during an internal investigation. Good evening. Good to be with you tonight and every night. I'm Sean Owsley. Initially, a murder investigation out of Pend Oreille County uncovered misconduct on the job by that deputy. It also uncovered messages about allegedly trading pills with a man accused of murder and kidnapping. The conduct of 61-year-old Daniel Middlebus came to light during the June arrest of John Rosen, who is facing several charges, including murder. The two were neighbors in Pend Oreille County at that time. Sheriff's office says once investigators began looking into the contact made between them, they uncovered much more. Joining us live in studio tonight is Ainsley Anderson. Good evening, Ainsley. You've been tracking this story throughout the day, and now the Sheriff's office says the investigation also revealed workplace misconduct.
Yeah, Sean, you're exactly right. Sheriff John Knowles with the Spokane County Sheriff's Office tells us while going through text messages between Middleboss and his neighbor, they discovered much more on his phone. The investigative documents say they uncovered explicit messages and hundreds of pornographic photos and videos from his work cell phone, including photos allegedly taken inside the public safety building. Now, the report first obtained by the Spokesman Review says they found pictures and videos of the deputy in, quote, various stages of undress, sexual contact, and intercourse appearing all on his work cell phone. These including inappropriate pictures taken in the driver's seat of a patrol car and even a video of Middleboss in the bathroom of the public safety building carrying out a sexual act. When we spoke with the sheriff this afternoon, he said he was, quote, very disappointed to see this conduct. He says he holds his deputies to a high ethical standard and that Middleboss's employment would have been terminated after proof of any one of the numerous proven allegations. And when it comes to criminal charges in relation to the alleged drug trading, the sheriff said they likely had probable cause, but said, in his opinion, it would not lead to a conviction beyond a reasonable doubt. Middleboss was in the process of being decertified, but retired from the department, and we're told it's very unlikely that he would be returning to work. Live in studio, I'm Ainsley Anderson, NonStop Local.
Ainsley, thank you. Many parents here in the Spokane area asking questions after learning that a former teacher, as we reported to you last week, was removed from a classroom following numerous allegations of inappropriate sexual behavior with a student earlier this year. That teacher being held tonight on $750,000 bond, charges of child rape and molestation. Let's take you to NonStop Local KHQ's Noah Bolter with some new information.
Representatives with Spokane Public Schools tell me they teach personal safety, touching safety, and assertiveness as a part of annual curriculum for students age K through 3rd grade. Now, I want to show you this picture that is being shared online and is raising some questions. The district tells me it regularly sends out letters like this notifying parents of this curriculum. In the curriculum, students are taught to identify signs of sexual abuse so that they can say no and tell an adult if it happens. They are also taught to be assertive to get out of unsafe situations. And parents do have the option to opt in or out of this child protection curriculum. As for the teacher who was arrested, according to the 2025 Washington State Adult Sentencing Guidelines, if convicted, 32-year-old Mihaela Benavides could be facing a minimum of 51 to 68 months, depending on the details of the alleged crimes, and on how the judge rules on the case, amongst other factors. According to attorney Dustin Burke, judge's discretion could mean a varying sentence, shorter than the minimum, or up to life in prison.
Even after you've served the time that the judge orders, you technically could have to stay longer, determined by the jail board and what their review of your risk level and different things like that would be. So the sentence is not concrete.
Benavides is scheduled back in court on Tuesday for a formal arraignment. In Spokane, I'm Noah Bolter, NonStop Local.
All right, as we're weaving our way through this Monday, how's the weather treating you? You liking it? You staying inside? What are you doing? Well, yeah, Leslie is off, Rosemary is working, and you know, all in all, not too bad. Feels a lot like March.
Yes, feeling like March, looking like March too. They say what? Spring showers bring May flowers?
But spring is on the horizon, officially.
Yes, we're days away from spring here and still getting in just a few more showers before we officially start the season. Let's go ahead and take a look outside right now. Gloomy but dry for Spokane, as well as over in Coeur d'Alene too. And we've got temperatures holding strong in the low 40s across the metro area. As we look at that satellite radar, you'll see that we captured rain and even some sleet passing over eastern Washington and North Idaho just over the last 12 hours. With the wet weather we saw over the weekend, the wet weather we saw today, and now strong winds on the horizon, we do have some avalanche concerns in northwestern Montana, and we're still tracking flood alerts across the Evergreen Estate. Overnight here, you'll notice we're expecting those dry conditions to hold for Spokane, the Tri-Cities, and Yakima. And as we actually watch how this system is expected to pass over, you'll notice we have a chance for some scattered showers later on tonight, but that system really breaks up as we get into those early morning hours tomorrow, which is perfect because it's just in time for some better weather on St. Patrick's Day, at least in terms of temperatures. We're talking upper 50s in Spokane and into the 60s for areas like Omak. Dry conditions for many of us, chance for more scattered showers tomorrow in Sandpoint, and winds looking to pick up a bit too. We'll take a closer look at your St. Patrick's Day forecast as well as the next 7 days and our start to spring and our full forecast, Sean.
All right, Rosemary, thank you so much. To a crime tracker out of Kootenai County. A man is in jail after he allegedly stalked, threatened, and kidnapped somebody. Deputies say they were investigating reports of a man who had entered a home in Coeur d'Alene and held the victim against their will. Investigators say that suspect later sent the victim a photograph with a gun to his head along with a threatening message. Deputies found and surrounded the suspect's home in Post Falls. He later surrendered when SWAT officers arrived on scene. He faces charges of kidnapping, stalking, burglary, trespassing, and other charges could be pending. Idaho State Police right now are asking for your help after a possible weapons offense near Worley over the weekend. They say they want to know if you saw or heard gunshots, witnessed aggressive or reckless driving, or people walking along Highway 95, specifically between Worley and Plummer. Authorities are not releasing any specific information, but ask if you know anything to let them know. Reach out. The incident number there, 208-209-8730. Across the country, gas prices entering their third week of steady increases. The average price of a gallon of gas stood at $3.72 nationally as of this morning. That's the highest price for regular gas since October of 2023. Gas prices also keep rising across our area. AAA says the average price, regular gas in Spokane today, $4.55, up 26 cents from last week, almost $1 since last year. Across state line in the Coeur d'Alene area, drivers paying $3.66 on average, up 34 cents in a week. Through this, President Trump is downplaying the importance of the Strait of Hormuz to the United States. That's a key oil transport route effectively locked down by Iran right now, as you well know. President Trump requesting the help of several world leaders to stabilize that strait, but sending warships to guide oil tankers through. Here's NBC's Melanie Zanona.
Someday rebuilding that country.
President Trump feeling pressure on rising gas prices.
When this is over, oil prices are going to go down very, very rapidly. So is inflation, so is everything else.
Even as he pushes allies to join the battle to open the all-important Strait of Hormuz, where 20% of the world's oil is at a near standstill.
We strongly encourage other nations whose economies depend on the strait far more than ours. Some are very enthusiastic and some are less than enthusiastic.
Those allies, many of whom the president has criticized and berated, say not so fast. Germany's defense minister telling reporters, quote, "This is not our war." Great Britain saying the leaders have not made a decision on sending ships. The president not happy.
For 40 years, we're protecting you, and you don't want to get involved.
These other countries are benefiting greatly from the United States military taking out the threat of Iran.
The longer the war goes on, the price of oil seesaws, and the more pain Americans will feel at the gas pump. The average cost of a gallon of gas now $3.72. The administration feeling the heat.
This will end, and I don't know how many weeks it will be, but on the other side of this, the world will be safer and we will be better supplied.
The president has indicated he's not in the mood to make a deal, though Iran wants to make one, but
we don't know who their leader is. We have people wanting to negotiate. We have no idea who they are.
Iran is pushing back on President Trump's claim about the Strait of Hormuz, saying it's only closed to enemies. Meanwhile, the president may delay his trip to China, scheduled for later this month, but he insists it's not about pressuring China to help in the Strait of Hormuz. Administration officials say Trump wants to stay in the United States to help coordinate the war effort. Melanie Zanona, NBC News, Washington.
So far, the military says that about 200 U.S. troops have been wounded since the start of the Iran conflict. Of those 200, more than 180 have returned to duty. 10 are seriously wounded. Since the war in Iran began, 13 U.S. service members have been killed. 6 U.S. service members killed last week when a military refueling plane, KC-135, as you were well aware, involved in a crash in western Iraq. President Trump is aiming to crack down on people who steal public money earmarked for vulnerable groups. A new executive order signed today appointed Vice President Vance as the leader of an anti-fraud task force. Both he and President Trump say the force will be focused on finding criminals abusing food assistance, Medicaid, and housing funding, regardless of where they're located.
This is not a Republican-Democrat thing. This is wherever it's taking place. It seems that it's usually in blue states. If it's in a red state, we're going there too. But it seems that it's heavily Democrat.
What this executive order does is force the entire apparatus of the federal government to do two things: stop the fraud in the American taxpayer and make sure that the benefits that ought by right go to American citizens and not to fraudsters.
So far, specific other roles and leadership of the task force have not been made public. What was made public today by President Trump, his White House Chief of Staff, Susie Wiles, diagnosed with early-stage breast cancer, but we're told will continue working during her treatment for it. The president says Wiles' prognosis is, quote, excellent. She plans to begin treatment immediately. He says she will be working virtually full-time. He did not indicate what treatment she will receive or how long that's expected to last. Still to come here tonight at 5, trouble in TSA lines across the country, how thousands of travelers are handling delays caused by staffing shortages and a lot of unpredictable weather right now.
And I'll have a closer look at our weather here at home in your full forecast that's coming up here on NonStop Local at 5.
Tonight, the travel mess across the country as intense weather sweeps through and security lines affected by the shutdown stretch on and on. Plus, with power out across Cuba, our exclusive with the top official there on the island's future when we join you in the West.
TSA staffing shortage issues surged over the weekend, we're learning. That's according to the Department of Homeland Security, where more than 100 incidents where shortages threatened operational integrity on Sunday. At least 366 agents have quit their jobs in the past month, and agents missed their first full paycheck last week due to the partial government shutdown. Democratic lawmakers have delayed Republican efforts to pass a new bill to fund DHS after expressing serious concerns over how the agency has handled immigration enforcement. Republicans pushed back, saying Democrats are playing politics and that a deal needs to get done. Caught on camera, U.S. Coast Guard crews capturing video of their rescue of a snowmobiler stranded on an ice sheet in the Great Lakes. Snowmobiler was riding midday when the ice he was on gave way, stranding him near the Mackinac Island. U.S. Coast Guard cutter Mackinac came to the rescue. They were able to get him on board, give him medical care, and were also able to hook his snowmobile on the crane and pull it on deck. Fire officials say serious weather conditions complicated the rescue, whiteout conditions, deep snow drifts, and unpredictable ice flows. Well, severe weather is hammering the Midwest again as we speak. Same system also bringing some strong thunderstorms down south. Forecaster Rosemary Wright joins us now. And Rosemary, we're seeing some old records broken specifically in the Midwest.
Yes, Sean, anyone who has family in the Midwest would agree. It's like they're standing in a snow globe that somebody just shook up. And as you can see from this video in Milwaukee, heavy snow is creating whiteout conditions right now. And while you may think it's normal for Wisconsin, we've actually seen more than 17 inches fall in a 24-hour period. That's the most they've seen since the 1880s. Life goes on, though, and here you can see firefighters tackling a warehouse fire in the middle of that blizzard. On top of that, the warm side of this system is bringing severe storms in places like Arkansas. Incredible video of a potential tornado touching down there now. And all of this leaving thousands of travelers stuck with delays and canceled flights too. Our very own Kalai Chalk is currently stuck in Chicago in part due to this weather. And we'll hear from her tonight at 6 p.m. But first, let's go ahead and jump into that forecast together, shall we? I want to start with that national picture. You can see all of that rain and snow continuing to push through New England with another big push through the Midwest Tuesday night and into Wednesday morning with some of those impacts coming through the southern states, including the Virginias and the Carolinas as well. A bit closer to home, things are quite a bit milder, right? We're just at 17 minutes past 5 p.m. Temperatures in the low 40s right now for Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, upper 40s along the Palouse at 48 degrees in Pullman, upper 30s there in Chewelah, and cloudy conditions across the board. As we look at that satellite radar, you can see today we captured the most showers and snow through North Idaho and into northwestern Montana, with more mild impacts for eastern Washington. Overnight here, we're expecting perhaps more scattered showers at about 11 p.m. or midnight for Spokane and Kootenai counties, but that chance for precipitation remains at about 20%. Regardless, we are getting rain on top of new snow for much of the inland northwest, and we're also looking for our breezes to pick up over the next 48 hours here. With that, we do have an avalanche watch in place into the Treasure State, including Lincoln and Flathead, Montana, as well as flood watches still in place along Washington's west side tonight. So we take a look at what we're really expecting from these winds. You're set to see this map really light up as we take a look at the next 12 hours. Areas shaded in red set to exceed 40-mile-per-hour gusts, and in northwestern Montana, we're looking at areas exceeding 75-mile-per-hour winds. Outside of the winds, overnight here, we're looking for temperatures to drop to 40 degrees in Spokane. 42 are expected low for the Lake City, and cloudy, mild conditions across the board for Spokane and Kootenai counties. As for our highs for tomorrow, we're expecting temperatures to climb to 57 degrees for the Lilac City, 55 degrees on tap for Coeur d'Alene tomorrow, a bit warmer through central Washington, 68 degrees there in Moses Lake. As for Tri-City, 69 degrees. As for the LC Valley, we're looking at 63 degrees in Lewiston and 60 for Orofino. Taking a look at that future cast now, we'll start with tomorrow, Tuesday at 8 p.m. because that's when we see that chance for precipitation rise to likely showers for the Idaho Panhandle. Spokane follows suit overnight, and as we get into Wednesday, things dry out for a bit before another potential push on Wednesday night. But through all of that, the chance for precipitation remains quite low for Spokane. As we take a look at just how much rain we could see for those surrounding areas, though, you'll notice that we're looking at more than 4/10 of an inch for areas like Orofino, where we're already seeing overwhelmed and waterlogged rivers and lakes, right? And as we check in with our friends across Washington's west side, areas shaded in red could exceed 6 inches of rain over the next 48 hours. So something we'll continue to track with those flood watches still in place. As for winds, you'll notice that they fluctuate quite a bit as we get through Tuesday and into Wednesday. Reminder, areas shaded in red set to exceed 40 miles per hour. And we start out Wednesday morning with kind of widespread areas highlighted in red. Taking a look at those next 7 days now, we go from the upper 50s into the 60s by Wednesday for Spokane, a return to the 50s over the weekend and into the start of next week, with overnight lows fluctuating between the 50s and the 30s. So big difference there. As for Coeur d'Alene, pretty similar, except a wetter week ahead. That's your forecast, but there's still more here to come at 5.
Live from the Northern Quest Sports Studio. This is SWX NonStop Local Sports.
Well, Gonzaga Bulldogs men team entering game week now for the NCAA tournament. They're playing Thursday against Kennesaw State. In all the excitement that Selection Sunday was, we also got some potentially encouraging news about star forward Braden Huff. Head coach Mark Few announced after the WCC championship that Huff was up and shooting around at practice and also was seen without crutches. According to Seth Davis now, the injury that Huff has been dealing with is a dislocated kneecap. That happened in practice more than 2 months ago. Few provided another update on Selection Sunday, noting that there are some promising signs when it comes to Huff's progress.
B Huff's jogging and shooting, and but he's he's not in position, I don't think, he's not going to be able to play this weekend or anything, but he is jogging and shooting, and I think that's a real positive sign, but again, we just got to get past Kennesaw,
So the 3 seed Gonzaga will hope to get through the first weekend, and maybe they'll be able to get Huff back for the Sweet 16, but like Coach said, they got to get past 14 seed Kennesaw State. The Owls, the winner of Conference USA tournament, and the Zags will take them on Thursday at 7. You'll be able to watch it on TBS. And I think that is really impressive and would really change Gonzaga's outlook for the NCAA tournament. But probably more exciting news for you, what came across that we'll be talking about more at 6 o'clock, Seattle Sonics potentially coming back here in a couple years.
Well, a lifelong Sonics fan, but I'll believe it when I see it. That's kind of the running story, and the NBA's changed so much from when I used to watch it with Sean Kemp and Gary Payton in the glory days. But it does sound, and some of the insiders, the key insiders on national level, said not if, but when Sonics in Las Vegas are expanded.
Yeah, we'll talk about it more coming up at 6 o'clock, but sounds like in just a couple weeks we'll have the first big vote. If that one passes, it really will start to get the wheels turning on potentially return in Seattle.
All right, then March Madness gets underway here, and it's Monday Madness around here. Rosemary and I were talking, and like, I'm struggling to be here today, right?
No, we didn't say that.
Yeah, we absolutely said that. Yes, we did. We'll see you at 6.